Hey guys, what's up? Thank you so much for checking out the video and welcome to Keeping It Real Fishing. Got an unboxing here today. I haven't done one of these in a while. It's not to say that I haven't gotten stuff, but just vast majority of the time I don't turn on the camera to unbox it. It's the dead of winter here though, and I figured for the sake of putting a video up and showing you guys some stuff, I'll do an unboxing here. I definitely got some cool stuff in the box. Very special one here today. I also got a rod, a really cool rod from a company that just started releasing rods here in the United States. Pretty cool stuff. I'm excited to see that. But let's start with what's in the box first. Okay. Alright, I'm going to put the box over to the side. And we're going to start to withdraw some of the goodness out of it. Alright. A lot of great stuff has been coming out recently, guys. You know what it is? You know, iCast comes out in the summer and we see this really cool stuff offered, and so many times a lot of it's not available until you know, months later. And so what I'm finding is that I'm shooting this now in February, and a lot of what I'm going to show you here was announced at iCast. So let's get into it. First things first, guys, from Doomsday Tackle. This is the Sea Shad 3.2. You see right there, a little 3.2 inch. And what I like about this lure, really just the visuals got me. I like lures that have that little bit of reflective mylar film in there. To me, you know, if you have clear water and if you have that light penetration down there, I always look for lures that have that. It just, to me, it really mimics, obviously, a little bait fish flashing around down there, because so many of them have fins that are, you know, not metallic, but they will throw a little bit of light. So this right here is kind of in that, they call it baby gill flash. And I'll just show you guys, we'll bring it in here a little bit. And you can see it's really just the stripes there make it a gill. Otherwise, it's kind of like a watermelon color. I guess we could take one of these out real quick, take a quick look. Should take a quick look. All right. Okay. I had heard that, yeah, these don't have like a ton of action. It's supposed to be like a very subtle action. So it's not a particularly soft plastic, which would be good for durability. There's no joints or anything, but that's intentional. This is for vertical presentations. You could also drop shot it, which I guess, you know, that's vertical as well. But ideally, this is to put on a jig head, and you're going to grab some fish, and you're going to just drop it down to the appropriate depth, and you're just going to have this guy just sitting there in the water, just shaking, you know, just little undulations doing his thing. Pretty cool looking. Tackle Warehouse only had this one color, but on Doomsday's site, they have a lot of other colors as well. All right, so we got the Sea Shad. That's a small bait for me. For those of you guys who subscribe, you know I'm an East Coast angler. I fish primarily New Jersey, and I really am into my big baits. I got into my swim baits probably 4 years ago. I started chucking them pretty religiously. Not only swim baits, but just big baits in general. I like to employ a big bait philosophy, and you're going to see that right here. Here we go. This is from Magnum baits. Now, I've been using the Magnum baits. They make a 10-inch stick bait. Well, just called basically like a 10-inch Senko. And I was throwing that last year. Review pending. We'll be putting a review of that up. And this is their second lure that I see. And it's a really giant craw, as you can see. So there it is in my hand. Magnum baits, they call this the Mauler creature bait. I call it a creature bait, but it's really like a craw. This one here is in the Mauler Daddy color. Think green pumpkin with that small blue flake. You can see this thing is just big, man. You can put it on a jig, obviously. I also saw them teasing some very large jigs for this. I would like to put this on something like a mop jig. But just by itself, you know, this is so meaty, just a big lure. What I like, though, is wondering, now that I have it in hand, I can answer these questions for any of you who may wonder the same, if you were aware of this lure, is that it has the kind of the a la Strike King, these prominent flanges on either side of the claw here. And so those are always, when you see those, you know that it's going to catch water and do that really aggressive flapping thing when you're swimming it or on the fall. So I'm happy to see that. I know this is going to have a lot of action, and I believe I'm sorry guys, I'll have to double check or annotate, but I believe this is kind of a high buoyancy plastic such that these will come up when you just leave it on the bottom. It has these little secondary things here, just give it a little bit more action. That's a big boy, man, and that's the kind of stuff that I typically like to throw, looking for that particularly large fish. So that's Mauler Daddy. Check this one out. I got one other color. Oh, there we go. You can see the Magnum. This one here, pretty sweet. You know, you don't need a million colors, man. I just wanted to get kind of a darker thing and a little bit of a lighter thing. This one is called Poison. Misrepresented on Tackle Warehouse. That's why these videos always come in handy, because on Tackle Warehouse, they didn't show both sides. They usually do. They're usually good about that. But Tackle Warehouse just showed this color. So at least as of the making of this video, if you look at that on the site, you would think it's just a straight cinnamon or like this light brown color. But I was looking on their Magnum Baits Facebook page, and I knew that it was a split color. That this side was kind of like that watermelon or green pumpkin, and the other side was the brown. So now you guys could see it. It got some flake in here. It looks like red and green, small flake, predominantly on the top side. Yeah, the bottom is kind of void of flake, just a little bit of the black flake. That's pretty sick, man. In terms of at least like a crawdad color, that's kind of what I see. I don't get the red ones here. I know some of you California guys seen pictures of like these lobster red crawdads. I don't get those here. The ones I see are like kind of green pumpkin and like a kind of like a darkish brown. All right, so those are the Mauler creature bait from Magnum Baits. Big stuff. Here's one I'm excited to do a review on. This braid from Berkeley comes in at really the sole reason I got it, guys, is it comes in at the $9.99 price point. So I'm really curious to see. Now they don't give you quite as much. You know, it's one of the things, if you look, how much do they give you? They give you a little bit less than some other brands. A lot of other brands give you like 130 yards, 150, and then most of them will jump up to the larger spool, which is around 300 yards. So this one, they're giving you a little bit less, but it's still, you know, it's plenty to fill up most all your reels, unless you have like a really deep spool. I got 50 pound, you can see, in 110 yards, but still $9.99 for some braid. And curious, I want to check this out. I think it's a 4 carrier braid, meaning that there's 4 strands. It's not like super smooth stuff, I think. They don't say on here. I'm going to have to find out. Actually, we can kind of see from the side here. We'll have to inspect it more closely during the full review. But excellent value. But we'll see in terms of performance if, you know, buying a little bit of a less expensive braid has any detractions or if there's any liabilities to it. I suspect not. All the braids that I've used over the years, honestly, guys, I haven't really, regardless of what brand it is or whatever, I just don't see a lot of variability. The biggest thing that I see changing is how quickly the braid fades, which of course has nothing to do with your ability to catch fish. It's just I see some really hold the color for a while, and others it like bleeds out in like a trip or two. But in terms of strength, like my just, you know, anecdotal observations on the water is that they're all strong as hell. All right, let's get into something cool, man. Look at this from Live Target. This is the mullet. Now, Live Target had a mullet soft-bodied swim bait that was out already, but this one really caught my eye. It, as I understand, is, even though it's a hollow body, it's not a floater. It's a little bit heavy, it rides subsurface, and that's kind of the deal, is if you want to have a walk-the-dog bait that's weedless, and you want to maybe not necessarily have it on top. This one here is in, I think, the natural brown color. Oh, this one also is the large one, guys. It's 5 1/3 inches. I always go for my large baits. 5/8 of an ounce. I'll bring it in here. You can take a look at that. You can see it has that big hook on top. Let's take it out real quick. I didn't see any reviews on it yet. So if any of you guys have any basic questions, let's see if we can address those now. All right, softness, it's semi-soft, but not crazy soft like their frogs. Definitely a thicker, more resilient plastic. It is keeled and weighted. You can see it has that weight there. Interesting design here with the hook being exposed. That hook, as you can see, rides off the bait even when not compressed, but compressing it'll make it pop. Something different. In hand, again, 5.3 inches. It's not huge, but it's definitely formidable. It's not a small lure. And I just think it's something different, something cool. That's what I'm always looking for here with the channel, keeping it real, is I'm always looking for something different. Ideally innovative, not different just to put out something different. There's a lot of crap that comes out every year that's different. But somebody who's like, you know, let's kind of try to reinvent the mousetrap. And so I like this. I'm sure it's not the first one ever, but it's a spook style lure that is weedless and can go subsurface. Because a lot of times that's where it's at, guys. You know, sometimes the topwater bite is just not where it's at. They will not crack the surface. But if you just get it 6 inches below, it's game on. But sometimes they just are not willing to go to the air to get their food. So anyway, I'm excited to try this. Should be a cool little bait. Next thing, guys, I got a series of these. So this is going to be a review for sure. Again, any of you guys who subscribe, I've done a number of Bluegill Swimbait reviews. I did the Huddleston, I did the Matte lures, and I guess thankfully there's a lot to choose from on the market there. There's actually more than this. There's the Savage Gear one, which I have. I always meant to put up a review of that. The Life Target's coming out with one now, and it's kind of a la the Huddleston in the nature of the tail. I don't want to say it's a HUD tail. There's a lot of like patent protections or stuff on his Vortex tail. But the idea here is the same. They're trying to get a massive tail, or not a massive tail, but a tail that carries a lot of weight to move in that kind of slower lumbering action and to put out more pulse than a traditional boot tail. As you can see, guys, I got one in each size. I wanted to show you everything here, and one in, I got 3 of the 4 colors. So this one here, I believe, is the 3.5 inch. Yep, 3.5 inches. You're looking at a 1/2 ounce. You could use this on probably spinning tackle if you have a medium rod or greater. Looks really good. And oh yeah, that color there is the natural bluegill. So that one is yeah, a little bit of purple. You can see the light blue, and a little bit of they accent the tip of the tail with like a little bit of chartreuse, which I like because that's what you do find on bluegills. This one here, pumpkin seed. Yep, natural blue pumpkin seed. In the 4 1/3 inch, you're looking at 7/8 of an ounce. Something you could probably sling on most medium heavies, although once you get up into this and you're looking for better fish, I'd probably go into a full heavy action rod. You could even use a swim bait rod, but it's not even an ounce, so probably heavy action is your best bet on this. I like to use braid to a leader whenever I'm dealing with, well, this isn't weedless. You might not even need braid. You could probably get away with mono or fluorocarbon. Looks good though, looks good. And then I think I'm most excited about this one. I like the color and I like the size. This is the 5 inch. It comes in at 1 1/3 ounce. I'd say this is approaching a true swim bait, as the philosophy denotes. It's getting into your bigger bait. Not a huge bait, but as bluegills go, we usually don't throw giant bluegills. I mean, there's some 6 and 7 inch bluegills out there, but so many monster bass are caught on your kind of average size or average large size bluegills. And I know when I look in my water, so many of the ones that I see are this size. So I love that color there. That's a bronze bluegill. You can see they have their own proprietary hook. I like that. They designed their own thing for this. It's got this really, I mean, if there's a clear one, or we put up to the light when we do the full review, you can see just how massive this hook is. It's all one piece. They designed it just for the bait to put the hook point back further on the bait, so you're less likely to have a short strike. You have a little bit of protection because the hook is right in line with this fin, which is purposely made a little bit thick, so it'll help you to deflect off things. It's a smartly made bait. Coming back to that innovation idea guy and keeping it real, this is good. You know, they saw what was on the market, and it's not like, I don't think it's going to outfish the next bluegill swim bait, but there's some kind of simple design features here that make sense. And of course the tail. They have the tail, which is clear to give it a lot of thump, but in terms of visual, this is supposed to disappear in the water. We're going to look at the underwater footage when I do the review and see if it really does. But the idea here is that this is almost going to fade away like fluorocarbon, and all the fish is going to see is just the natural tail that they have poured within it right there. But we'll see when we do the full review. Definitely looking forward to that. Excited to put these on in about about 7 weeks or so. End of March, early April. Okay guys, next. This is cool, man. I didn't even know these were out. I was just about to place my order and I came across these. And I'm not an Alabama rig guy, but I just don't like having multiple hooks out. I don't even know if it's legal in my state in New Jersey, but I'm just not big on it. But I like this because this is kind of just like an exaggerated spinnerbait. You have one hook on it, and actually you have 2. Let me show you. this one's bigger. I have it in like this gold flash color and this silver flash color. So you can see down here, this it casts and it has the profile of the spinnerbait, right? So you got your main Y arm, and here is where it branches off, and this is kind of like a mini umbrella rig. Now none of these are hooked. There's 1, 2, 3. So you got 3 dummies swimming around. You have a blade down the middle, which is really cool. So you got the flash plus them kicking around. The bottom one is set back just a little bit further than all the rest, offset. I mean, if I'm a fish, I'm going to kind of strike that one that's in the pack, but you know, a little bit lower, and that's the one, of course, that's rigged. So I think, again, coming back, it's not reinventing the wheel. It's kind of just a modification on or a combination of your Alabama rig and your spinnerbait. But I like it. It's a smart design. You get the school of fish profile. You get the extra flash because of the blade, and in all those places where you can't run an Alabama rig, whether it's tournament or if it's even a state law, you only have one hook that you're throwing here, so no problems there. Comes in different sizes. I forget exactly the high end and the low end. I think this is as heavy as it goes, a 3/4 ounce. My idea was to have one that I could cast that I can work the deeper water with. That's my 3/4 of an ounce. And this one here that I can keep in the top part of the water column, and I went a little bit smaller with that 3/8 ounce in gold. And this one actually has a gold blade, whereas this one, and I think most of the others, had a silver blade. So the bait ball spinner rig. Pretty cool. It's talking about flash and vibration, right? Deflection. I guess, yeah, this thing is really well protected by this whole assembly up here. You could probably, like they're showing you, bring it over branches. Probably get away with that a good amount of the time. An interchangeable system. I'm not sure what they mean there. Looks like it might be this. Oh yeah, that's right. They sell these assemblies separate. So you could change out the color. You could buy like this little head here, so you can, if you don't want these things in gold, you can put on silver ones, or I think even bigger ones, and so you can change that whole little assembly here, the dummy assembly, which is pretty cool. You can customize it if you want to. Cool stuff, man. Alright guys, just got a few other things here. I think this is kind of terminal stuff. Oh, here's one I've been looking forward to. This sold out real quick. This is from Molex. I got 2 of these bad boys. The Trago Vibe. This came out. Now blade baits are really popular in the winter, and I've been using one here in New Jersey. It's called the Binsky. You can find it on Tackle Warehouse as well. It's a lot more of a simple design. It's just like a straight gold, and that's pretty much it. It doesn't have all the accents and stuff. But you know, honestly guys, I don't look at this and think because of the detail it's going to outfish my Binsky, but I just wanted to try something different just in terms of vibration. I want to see the profile. It is weighted differently. Where they place the weight's different than the one I normally use. For what it's worth, it does have more of a true fish profile. And I do like the fact that of the trebles, they're not trebles. These are dual hook here, dual hook here. That last forward-facing hook is not present because that is the one that typically will get hung up a lot as something, as it hits the bottom, whether it gets wedged in a rock or caught on a little stick down there. And these lures are so small, they get swallowed, that you don't need it. You still have 4 points that are going to be, you know, in contact with the fish's mouth. So let me just bring this in a little bit. These are pretty cool looking. You can see that reflective there. This one is it's called the GT. Pretty cool. 3/8 of an ounce. They also make it, I believe, in a half, but I definitely want to go for the slower fall. From when I whip up the rod, just that it doesn't plummet to the bottom. I like it to have a little bit of a slower descent on the bottom. And this one here, I think was a shad. Yeah, hollow shad, like holographic. Pretty cool stuff. Could probably use those for like the first couple weeks in the beginning of the year. A little bit of lead wire. I'm trying to turn some of my floating swim baits. I got some Matt Lores floaters that I want to make into heavy floats or extra slow sinks. So you just take a little bit of lead wire and you wrap it around the hook. Just go around the hook shank a couple times, do a float test to see where you're at, and just keep adding or removing wire as you need be. And then just a little bit of terminal tackle, guys. Just some big hooks and small hooks I want to replace on some of my swim baits. Alright, so that's it here for the tabletop. I know that went a long time because I'm always trying to tell you a little bit about these things more than just your average unboxing. Okay, but now if you want to join me, I'm going to go over to my living room and we're going to check out this rod. guys, so here we go. Savage Gear browser. Again, this is Savage Gear's first model of rods here in the United States. Overseas in Europe, they're really well established. If you ever check it out, they have a whole lineup over there. They were well established there before they even tried to get into the US market in all things, baits, tools, lines, everything. So here they go. They're bringing over some rods, and you can see the Akuma influence if you look at this rod and you look at Akuma's the Guide A series, like that lowercase a. You can see the family resemblance immediately, but I do notice a few differences, which just here inside, because again it's winter, I'm not going to be able to fish this for a little while, but I could just give you a close-up of some of the design cues, as well as just some basics of the action. Let me start with that. So on Tackle Warehouse, they call it as being a moderate action, meaning we're going to have flex through about the first, 2/3 or so of the blank. And I was actually looking for that. In a swimbait rod, I like rods that load deeper, not only for casting control, but also when I hook into a really good fish to keep those hooks planted, whether it's a jig hook or particularly treble hook lures. And just flexing it in hand, you can generally get a pretty good sense of where the taper is, and also kind of putting it on the ground and putting some weight on it. But right here, if I just kind of hold it in hand, you could see. If I do a little bit of pressure here, you could see that I can get flex through about this guide here. Now it is a swimbait rod. This is a heavy rod, rated from 2 to 8. But I have some others that are stiffer, namely my 13 fishings. Those are true fast actions. Like up until about like here is just like straight backbone, then it starts to give. But this here, I could feel it, because I have some other moderate action rods, as well as actually a slow action rod, and I could vouch for that this is a true, if we feel it along the line, yeah, this is a true, appears to be a moderate action. Strong as hell, you know, again, swimbait rods handling heavy baits, but when you load it up with those 3, 4, 5, 6, it says it goes up to 8, you load it up with those heavy baits, you see the flex in those instances. Again, this one here, guys, rated from 2 to 8. In the tip, I could feel that too. Just as I apply a little bit of pressure on the tip to the ground, I could see that you are going to be able to cast a 2-ounce lure. But usually the sweet spot on any rod, swimbait or otherwise, is in the middle. So this one, they're saying 2 to 8. I wouldn't probably want to cast an 8-ounce lure on this. And a 2-ounce probably is not going to load up as well. It's not going to utilize all of the blank. You're not going to be able to get the distance. The sweet spot is, I would imagine, would be in like that, maybe like 3.5 to like 5.5 ounce range. But you know, if you're looking to just get one rod, rods like this are probably the best choice. There's a lower model which handles, I believe, 1 to 4, and there's a higher one which handles I think 8 to 14 or something like that. I look at those as more specialized rods. But if you want kind of a jack of all trade, if you want to fish your smaller things like your S waivers, your 168s, your 200s, you can fish an 8-inch hut on this. I'm sure you can fish the 68 specials, your Savage Gear, all your mid-sized baits, and then you could even toy around with your larger ones doing lob casts. And the smaller ones, you won't get absolute distance, but you'll certainly have the hook setting ability on those as well. So anyway, just a little bit of 2 cents on the rod action and its application. Let's go in here for a little bit of a close-up on some of the construction details. Alright guys, so starting at the end, I really like this, and you'll see this also on the Akuma, the A series, and I believe they also have it on their carbon series, the higher end model. And it's this way this flanges out, it's almost like a bell there. They even had this design on their previous generation, going back 4 or 5 years ago, the first Guide Select series. This is great because as you're grabbing it, rather than just having a flat handle, your hand just really locks into that, and I feel like I get better distance, more power, more control when I'm holding my Akumas because of that flange. It's like I have that point I can really lock into. Not that my hands ever slipped off my other rods, but you'll see if you ever cast one that has this thing here, it really gives you a sense of security, a sense of confidence, and a sense that you can kind of lay into your cast a little bit harder. Moving up from there, it's pretty cool looking. It's got that crisscross carbon fiber weave there, and that's where they put the logo, if my camera would focus. There we go. So there's the logo right there with that crisscross carbon fiber. And here we go into the most interesting part, is the, come on focus, is the handle. And a couple things going on here, guys. First of all is the aesthetics. Savage Gear, I think, is playing towards a younger audience, but it's pretty cool overall. I mean, you know, so many of your outdoorsmen are going to love camo. They went with kind of this, you know, gray and black camo, and so many people, you know, love wearing that. I have a gray and black hoodie and everything. Sandwiched in between your cork that has the rubber in it. So it's something that A, stands out, B, kind of speaks to outdoorsmen, but also I think this is more of a young crowd, right? This is not a conservative looking rod. This isn't like your standard G Loomis with just a 100%, you know, cork grip. This is a split grip. You have the bell bottom thing here, but the main thing is this, aesthetically speaking, just this choice of materials here. Again, guys, that's just looks. That's not really here nor there. This is a very resilient foam. There's not a whole lot of give to it. It's kind of soft, feels nice in my hand. Then we go into more of the important features. So check out the reel seat. I'm pretty sure this is a proprietary reel seat. By that I mean it's not Fuji or any of the other major component manufacturers. Just give you a spin around here. So you have a place where you can feel the blank. Not terribly important with this one, with the Swimbaits. One of the things that stands out to me though, it's a dual locking reel seat. It's pretty cool. You see that in a lot of custom rods. So this one here is your secondary. That kind of locks down your first one, which we all have on all of our rods, but most of our rods it's just that. You lock that down, you're done. This one, as an extra fail-safe, has your secondary, which locks the whole assembly into place, so that's not going anywhere. In hand, just cursory, feels good. I'm not too picky with this stuff. I know a lot of people's like it's got to be a certain grip or a certain type of you know, reel seat or whatever. I'm just not that picky, but it looks pretty cool, and I'm sure it'll do the job just fine. Moving up from there, we do have a handle in front. If you're trying to really get like kind of that saltwater grip and lean into the front on your fish, you could do that. You got a grip there. Got some threads there, and that's pretty much it, guys. Then it's just your branding, your browser, and then the other side are the specs in terms of the line. Sorry about the focusing. Anyway, it's just the line and the rod weighting and all that stuff. Now here's a part that's going to be more of interest to some of you guys who are really into the rods and components. I am not so much, but this doesn't use a name brand for the guides that I think most people have heard of. I know I didn't hear of, and these are Sea Guide. Come on, camera, work with me here. Jeez. And I'm already hearing horror stories online of like people saying they shouldn't have gone with it, or like a couple early adopters saying, oh, one of mine broke out already. I say let it wait and see. And all my years, I think I've had 1 or 2 guides pop out of all my rods in like 15 or 20 years. So we'll see, we'll see. If it is really bad, then the reports will come in, but I would say save all judgment until these things have been out on the market and have been fished, and you know, take it from there. So in terms of the specifics, guys, sorry, I don't know. We'll have to look it up, what the hardness rating is, the type of ceramic. You can see it is the anti-snag, the forward-leaning guides. Those are supposed to reduce your kind of your wind knots and help to usher the line through a little bit faster. So anyway, guys, that's it. Long unboxing. Hope I answered some of your potential questions. Really looking forward to using this rod here. Also, just I didn't mention, I don't know the weight offhand, but balance-wise, as swimbait rods go, because they're always going to be more tip-heavy, balance feels pretty good without a rod on it. We could actually do one of these deals and find our balance point right quick. So a really well-balanced rod has it closer to where your reel is going to sit. Because whether your reel is on there or not, if that's the balance point, then the reel becomes moot once you put it on. You know, even though it's there, it doesn't affect the balance any. So a perfectly balanced rod would have the balance point right here. Sorry about that, battery died, but that's pretty much it, guys. I know this video has been taking forever. Been talking about a lot of different stuff here with these products, but yeah, just in terms of balance feels pretty good, particularly as swimbait rods go. It is, as compared to my other rods, I was just in my garage a little while ago before I turned on the camera, and I was feeling some of my others, and it feels a little bit lighter. I don't have the exact spec on it, but in terms of my 8-foot rods, I think this one's coming in a hair lighter. But yeah, overall, guys, the main thing is to fish it, right? In hand, this is a tool, and this is not what it's meant to do. Is this for us to look at it here at the components. The real answer is going to come once I get it out on the water to truly see how it loads up, casting, fighting a fish, durability, if that's the case. And then some of the other things, you know, is all these cork things going to stay? Is anything going to start to fall apart, etc., etc., etc. So looking forward to doing that. I really do want to do a review on this. I'm so backlogged. I have so many products that I'm like halfway done with reviews on. But I think this one might go to the top because it is a new product from a well-known manufacturer. I think a lot of people are going to want to know more about it. And like I said, I just have the Swimbait series here, the Swimbait model here, the extra heavy. But get it out in the water come spring, hopefully get a few fish on it, and tell you how it performs out in the real world. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching and hanging around. If you hung around to the end of my video, you know how I get down. It's never a short video with me. And hope to put out a few more videos here in the winter and show you some more products. Got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to review. For those of you guys in the country who are fishing, I hate you, but I'll be out in the water with you in a couple months. Alright guys, thanks for watching.